Alright, so we're back, of course, we're talking FF7, we're talking Rebirth, we're talking about the demo, because we actually have a brief look at the demo. It's probably like, I don't know, like 10 seconds, something like that. So we've had it for a few days. I wanted to talk about it, but we had other videos we were doing, and also wasn't exactly sure where the demo came from, because we've had shit leak in the past with Remake. We had the entire demo, in fact, leak back in the day. So I just didn't know where this snippet came from, but I did find it today. It's actually officially released by Square Enix, so we can actually show it on the channel. Like I wanted to talk about it, but also wanted to show stuff from it, and I didn't know if I could. That's the thing. So like now that I know that it's an official release thing that they've shown off and teased, we can definitely discuss it. And the snippet that we have comes from like a TGS video on the Square Enix Japanese channel, and it's like a 10-minute video, and what we're talking about is like 10 seconds. And it's not full screen for the part that they have, so they have like, it's like in a window. It's like this small or something, and the rest of it has a bunch of like, you see like two people playing the game and a bunch of like words and whatever. Like it just, you don't get a good look at it unless you like zoom in on it. So the quality's not the best. Here's a quick screenshot to show you what I mean. Now, the gameplay is obviously Cloud and Sephiroth, and we've already had a little bit of that with the recent trailer, but we see them fighting Materia Keeper, and that's like up in Mountain Bell, right? Near the reactor, sort of. What we're seeing in this little bit of gameplay is either the walk to Nibelheim, the walk from Nibelheim to Mountain Bell, or maybe, or Nibel, however you say that shit, or on the mountain itself. I'm not entirely sure. I used to refer to it in like the earlier days of this channel as Nibelheim for some reason, and I don't know why, and I got corrected by a lot of people and eventually started saying Nibelheim, but I say Mountain to Bell still, and I'm sure if it's Nibelheim, it's supposed to be Mount Nibel, but I don't know. I keep saying the Bell. Again, this is a really short clip. We're only seeing a little bit of combat, but what's kind of most important here is the location of where they're fighting, and we're getting to see a little bit of the UI. First things first, though, they're fighting a flying enemy, and based on the original FF7, there's only 2 flying enemies on the mountain, and it's either Sonic Speed or it's the Zoo. Now, initially, I wasn't quite sure which enemy this was, just based on the size, because it's like big, but it's not so big, and usually the Zoo's a quite big enemy in most Final Fantasy games. Actually, if you look back at the screenshot that I have from the wiki of the Zoo, you can see that above its picture, what its name is in Japanese matches what's above the health bar here in the demo. And during the gameplay itself, if you look off to the left, you can see that there's a fence that I don't know if we can even access or anything, and then beyond the fence to the left in like the top left corner, we can see that there's a building beyond it. The first thing that came to mind when I seen that was the Shinner Manor, the Shinner Mansion, but in everything that we've seen depicted, like FF7 Original and like Crisis Core and stuff, it's got like a concrete wall kind of blocking off the yard and shit, but then there's like a gate you go through, a big ass like tall like 2-piece gate or whatever. And this is like a generic ass little tiny fence, so I don't think that that's what it is. The thing is, though, as we've already discussed, we are confirmed fighting the Zoo, and if we're basing this off the original FF7, we don't fight the Zoo until we're like on the mountain or the Mountain to Bell reactor, right? Nibel reactor, whatever the fuck it's called. So if we're just based off the OG FF7, we should already be out of the town of Nibelheim here during this demo portion. And we know based on the first look trailer we got last year that the Nibelheim kind of area has been quite expanded, because whenever Sephiroth and Cloud are walking right here, their destination's like 1,000+ meters away. Likely the location that we're seeing them fight the Zoo at is either on the path to the mountain or on the mountain itself. With the original game, when we're like walking around the mountain, there's no like nothing. There's no like buildings or fences or anything like that. And we're seeing that a little bit with like the first look trailer, whenever like Cloud and Sephiroth like walk up to the edge towards the end of the trailer, and it kind of expands and gives us like a wide shot. You see like in the distance just like random buildings and stuff. We never get confirmation, I don't think, of whether that's like they're overlooking like Nibelheim or somewhere on the mountain. I don't know, but it's just more likely that just some sort of new kind of additional shit to make it look more than just like a bland mountain. But the UI during this whole little sneak peek of the demo is what's the most interesting, probably, because we get to see 2 more, I guess, synergy moves for Cloud and Sephiroth. I think the translation says like chain attack, chain action, something like that. So I don't know if it's meant to be a synergy move or something else entirely. But we've already seen double helix with the trailer, of course. But also the UI during this whole tutorial segment actually confirms that we can switch to Sephiroth. So the translation is coming from Audrey on Twitter, and she says, the footage shows 2 combo chain moves, Void Break and Counter Shoot. The duo is currently doing Void Break, and there seems to be a tutorial guide on the right. Triangle button switches to Brave Mode. You can play as Sephiroth by clicking the directional pad or command party members with R2, L2. The enemy Zoo is casting Tornado at them. I guess I didn't read her whole tweet initially, because I knew we were going to talk about this, but she just confirmed in her tweet that it is the Zoo enemy. I did a whole fucking breakdown of this shit earlier in the video, and I didn't even need to. Welp. She has combo attack we're seeing right here where Sephiroth like imbues Cloud's sword with some sort of magic and then attacks the Zoo. This should be Void Break according to her translation. And just looking at the UI down here, it appears to activate the top move, which the top move is square and triangle, so I guess that's Void Break, and the bottom is circle X, and that would be Counter Shoot. And I know that we've had like confirmation that Sephiroth is playable, at least according to like a interview, but the interview was kind of weird because Nomura was saying that like, yeah, if you're thinking of the moment that I'm talking about, Sephiroth is playable as he was in the original game, but in the original game he wasn't playable, so that was kind of weird. But we're already kind of told that we're going to be playing as Sephiroth, or playable Sephiroth, and according to the UI here, according to her translation, you can just hit like left or right on the D-pad and swap over to Sephiroth, which is kind of cool. I'm fine with him being playable in combat. That is perfectly fine. It still narratively doesn't make a lot of sense, sort of, just because Cloud's telling a story, right? So it doesn't make sense to be playing as Sephiroth, but I'm fine with it in combat. If we're playing as Sephiroth outside of combat, that's going to be a little bit weird to me. Being able to play as Sephiroth, I mean, this is some pretty big fan service. People have wanted this for a long time. This is something that's like 26 years in the making. I guess 27 years in the making by the time the game actually comes out. That people wanted to control and play as Sephiroth, like officially in a Final Fantasy game. Because you couldn't do that in the original game. It's a little bit... It'll be cool. It'll be fun. The point of it in the original game was that like you couldn't control him because you're being shown how powerful he was with the kalm flashback, right? And it's not really necessary now because we've like fought Sephiroth at the end of Remake, and like nothing he's gonna do in the flashback will be as impressive as what we've seen at the end of Remake in Chapter 18, right? But it's still gonna be cool. It's still gonna be fun to be able to like switch over to Sephiroth right as soon as combat starts and just fuck everything up. And really, now that I'm like talking about it and doing a video about it, like obviously it makes sense to play as Sephiroth because the point of the tutorial is to teach you the game mechanics, and one of the main game mechanics for combat is switching party members. Similar to the Remake demo, that was like an hour long, right? I don't know how long this demo is going to be. But you eventually get buried on your party, right? And the kind of the point of that is to show you the ability to switch party members and like use party members, ATBs and stuff like that, right? So it kind of makes sense now that I think about it and I'm talking about it. Like, of course we're going to have Sephiroth as a playable party member. What's actually going to be really cool about this that I just thought of too while recording is that whenever this hits PC eventually, people will be able to mod Sephiroth as a playable party member like they did with Red 13, right? Because Red 13 was in Remake, you just couldn't control him and he had like his own moves and stuff. So, but now that we're going to have like a playable Sephiroth that presumably has his own like moves, maybe ATB gauge moves and stuff like that, like it'd be kind of cool to you could run through the story with like a Sephiroth in your team on PC at least. I think that's pretty much the video, my dudes. We know there's 2 demos out there. There's this one, the calm flashback. I don't know if we're going to get the whole thing. I mean, the Remake demo was an hour, like pretty much an hour long, right? It was like the whole bombing mission, all Chapter 1, except for they edited out like the Tifa flashback thing. So I'm kind of curious how long this demo is going to be, where we're going to play as Cloud and Sephiroth, but also the other demo that's like exploring the Junon area, whatever that is exactly. I think somebody said Junon Harbor. I don't know if that's within the town of Junon, Lower Junon, Upper Junon, or like the area outside of Junon. I don't know exactly. I don't know where it's at. But whatever the demo is, I don't know if we're going to get like a sneak peek of it either before TGS. I'm kind of curious when these demos are dropping to. When it came to Remake, the demo leaked pretty early because like people seen on the back end of the PlayStation Store that the demo was uploaded. We had like the little graphic, which is just like the Remake logo, but it said demo with it. And then they're able to like download and play the whole fucking demo. So I don't know how they're going to handle it this time to try to avoid that. Maybe they're going to wait till closer to release, or maybe they have things in place that can prevent that. I don't know shit about all that stuff, but we covered it back on the channel back in the day. So I don't know when they're going to drop this because the demo officially launched for Remake I think on March 2nd, which is a little over a month before release. So I don't know if they're going to drop these demos together, separate them, spread them out. Maybe we get one in a few months and one closer to release. I don't know what they're going to do exactly. Other than dudes, that is indeed the video. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Social networks in the description below. Follow me on Twitter, @davidbusiness. That's it. Bye.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Low Gain or leave it like Cobain.